When you are walking in public places, you may have seen a sign called wet floor along with the warning sign. What does that mean? It says that there is a certain particular area that if you walk into that particular area, the floor is wet and it gives you an early warning, an advance warning in order for you to refrain from entering into that area. Likewise, when you are doing mopping at home, you normally don't put that particular label because you know about the periphery of the house. The participants in the house, the family members, they do know exactly where the periphery of the house and what time this mopping is being done and how to get rid of that sort of a situation. How to avoid from a slippage or a falling or any sort of a damage because you know the periphery. But in a public area, people are not known to that sort of circumstances because they are entering into that site. There are a lot of visitors and there are people who enter into this area maybe for the first time and they do not know when the mopping is being done and how the mopping is being done and what time the mopping is going to be finished. Therefore, you have to ring fence that particular area in order to avoid any sort of a hazard being encountered by the people who are going there. Welcome to Mindful Contract Administrator. Early warnings or advanced warnings are essential in order for us to run smoothly in our lives in terms of personal aspects as well as professional aspects. Therefore, the standard forms of contract realize the fact that this advanced warning system will help you to have a more robust set of contract guidelines, the administration of the contract projects. In the new engineering contracts family, the early warning systems were already existing. They have gone through certain days, certain years of experience related to the advanced warning systems. However, FIDIC realized this sort of an advanced warning system is required and they now included within the 2017 version in order to have a more robust set of contract guidelines in order to avoid potential disputes which may be encountered by the parties to the contract in future. So this particular novel step has jumped up in order to attract the contract administrators towards FIDIC 2017 version. The Clause 8.4 of FIDIC Red Book now introduces advanced warning systems which is confined to 4 different areas wherein the parties to the contract shall give the advance warnings in the administration of the contract during the time of execution of the contract. Number 1, it says if it adversely affects the works of the contractor's personnel, that needs to be advancedly notified to the engineer. What does that mean? It says affecting the works of the contractor's personnel. And you can clearly see that the word works is not starting from capital W and it does not end with an S. It says the work of the contractor's personnel. That means the contractor's personnel are the main task force in delivering a project. So whatever the activity that he or she is engaged in forms part of the work of the contractor's personnel. It may be in terms of delivering his duties, the workforce, supervision services or any other peripheral services which may be directly impacting the progress of the project in terms of time, cost and quality. Then it goes to the second item within the Clause 8.4 of FIDIC Red Book. It says if it affects adversely, if any item is affecting the performance of the works when it is completed. When you are talking about the performance, what comes to your mind is quality. Okay, so that if it is detrimental to the quality of the works, once it is completed, you have to give an advance warning. And it is very much important. It says once the works is completed. It is not talking about the ongoing works. It is talking about once the work is completed, if it is affecting. If you foresee that there is something which will affect the completed work, you have to give an advance warning. Number 3, if there is a potential increase of the contract price, that also needs to be noted well in advance in order to identify and give a remedy to that particular problem, because the contract price signifies the cost certainty. Therefore, if the price, the time, cost and quality, out of these 3 aspects, the cost is affected, that means definitely the contract, one of the objectives of the contract is affected. Number 4, it says, if it affects the completion of the works or a section in terms of time. What does that mean? That means if it is detrimental to the time aspect of the contract, it is also needed to be warned earlier. Therefore, time, cost and quality, if it is going to be affected in future, that needs to be now warned in advance as per FIDIC 2017 version. Now let us look into the NEC version of this particular early warning. Now you know that the program is the tool that drives the construction project in terms of time. Now in FIDIC form of contract, as you can see in the earlier versions of FIDIC, if the approved program or the accepted program does not have any problem, if you do not see any delay in the project, nobody will review the approved program from time to time, because there is no necessity. It is like a checking of your body, right? If your body does not give any sort of a sign of a pain or any sort of a discomfort, you do not do the checkup. This is not a right practice. NEC version, it asks for frequent update of the contract, the frequent updates of the program, in order to identify whether the things are going right, whether they are on the right track. Now FIDIC 2017 version has included a lot of stipulations to the program aspect of the new FIDIC Red Book in order to identify whether the things are going in the right track during the execution of the project, even though you do not encounter a delay. Because the diseases such as cancer does not give you any sort of an indication until it comes to a critical stage. It does not deprive you from doing some sort of a regular body check. Now for example, if you are talking about the current pandemic situation such as coronavirus, there are certain cases wherein the person who is carrying the virus, who has been affected by the virus, does not show any sort of a symptom. However, he or she could be a carrier, a transmitter of that particular virus. By doing a PCR test, he or she will be able to identify if there is a suspected case that I do have the virus. So he or she can contain himself or herself by not spreading the virus. So this is important. Even though your body does not react to a certain situation, does not give any sort of an alarm about what you are infected with, it is better to do a regular checkup. It will help avoiding any future disasters. There's another very important aspect in early warning or advance warning of a particular situation. This will enhance the collaboration between the parties to the contract. This will avoid disputes in future. This is one of the notions which was revolving around the world in the construction industry, that you should have some sort of a partnering approach rather than a hostile approach in completing a project in terms of time, cost and quality. Now there is a fourth dimension which has come into the picture, that is sustainability. Now if you look into the first element of this advanced warning system, if a factor is detrimental to the delivery of the performance of the contractor's personnel, it may be affecting the sustainability of the project as well. So these 4 items blended together will give you a sound set of tools in order to give some sort of a early warning if there is anything which is going to happen in the future, which we call is as prospective changes. Right. Now how do we do that? FIDIC 2017 version included something called management meetings. It is appeared within clause 3.8 of the FIDIC Red Book 2017 version, wherein these sort of things can be discussed regularly, right? You know that there is a very important tool which is being practiced in almost all the projects in the world, which is called the risk register. The NEC version of the risk register is called early warning register. In FIDIC form of contract also, even though we were unaware of the fact that the early warnings needed to be done, most of the contract administrators, from the commencement up to the completion of the project, use something called the risk register. So the management of risk register will give you a very sound approach in order to practice this particular clause, the sub-clause 8.4 of FIDIC Red Book 2017 version. I will come up with another video giving a comparison between the NEC version of the early warning system and the FIDIC version of the advanced warning system, because we have to learn from the practice which has been already done by the NEC version with the new version of the FIDIC 2017 version, which will give you a complementary benefit in having a more robust set of contract guidelines, a more robust practice into your life as a mindful contract administrator.